You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
As you saw in the previous video, Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, has slandered many women. His opinions on the female body and the worth of women are being spilled into the ears of America's new generation. I first spoke to the Dean of Students, ms.butts, who shared what misogyny means to her.
Misogyny is basically the dislike of women or discrimination or prejudice against women.
According to Southern Poverty Law Center, 4 in 10 people have heard derogatory language directed to students and individuals in a high school environment. These statements and opinions victimize people based on their gender and sexual orientation. Here's North Lawndale College Prep's office coordinator, Griffen, talking about her misogynistic experience at work.
I was working in management for a fast food restaurant, and there were a lot of male managers. The general manager was a male, and then a lot of the store managers were male. I was one of very few women. There were always perks that would come up, like, they would go out for drinks, or they would have like weekend get-togethers, but it was always like a boys' club. The girl managers were never invited to that. If there was ever opportunities for promotion, the men would know about them first, or they would get them first.
Ms. Butts gave us more insight on how misogyny in society and in the high school environment affects the self-worth of young female students.
I see it more in relationships between male students and female students, how they treat each other, the level of disrespect that it happens on a daily basis. The female students don't necessarily see themselves as powerful beings. I feel like they see themselves kind of like as sexual objects, because that's what is shown in the media.
Oftentimes, boys are raised that boys are boys. And there's this double standard that there are some things that boys can do and can get away with that girls just cannot.
Here's a student from North Lawndale, Destiny Fleming, who speaks of her misogynistic encounter with a male student at the school and how she responded to it.
I have had an experience dealing with misogyny, considering I play basketball. The boys are very out of the sort, I guess. They seem to feel like they're better than us. A boy stood over my desk and then he was like, something, we're so much better. And then I just got mad. He was like, I'll slap you. And I was like, no, you're not, because I'm stronger. He was like, no, girls are very weak.
Now that the jokes that you make, or the way, when you say you fight like a girl or you play like a girl, when you say those, demeaning things, when you treat women differently, when you know that there's a name to it, then the accountability falls back on you. So now you have an opportunity to do something different. So it takes the ignorance out of what they're doing, and it makes them more responsible.
Mr. Horan, North Lawndale School President, explains to us how the media portrays women through rap lyrics and magazine covers.
It's always interesting when I do observations in classrooms. And if you watch closely, sometimes teachers just call on certain people. Many times they're not girls. So there's all these assumptions that are really manifestations of misogyny that happens all the time in classes and in schools. The media has all sorts of influences. The media will tell you what pretty is. The media will tell you the way a woman should act. And these practices, sort of a brainwashing in the heads of young women, that you're too plump, or you're too skinny, or your skin color's wrong. I think lots of times media turn females into objects to be used and to be disposed of. And then you get these 16-year-old boys walking through the halls repeating these raps that do nothing but tear women down. It has a real malicious and a terrible effect on people's perceptions.
Misogyny can only be fought through unity, but what approach do we take to stand up to misogyny?
For guys to just open up their eyes to the simple fact that it's not all about males anymore. It's more open than that. It's not even about race. It's not about religion. It's about us as a people all together.
There's always something to be proven, right? I never get a break, and that break is never going to come. And as a woman, you have to commit yourself to that. Commit to understanding that you're going to have to work twice as hard. But, to my fellow sisters, I say do you. do whatever it is that makes you happy.
I am not as nasty as racism, fraud, conflict of interest, homophobia, sexual assault, transphobia, white supremacy, misogyny, ignorance, white privilege.